That's right. So there are still concerns within the PNG public about their legacy issues that were there from 2017, and then there was an expectation that those issues have been addressed, but it seems from what we've been seeing now that those issues haven't been addressed, that people's names are not on the rolls, and the other major sort of concerns about the various issues or various problems concerning the electoral rolls haven't been fully sort of taken up. So yeah, there's a lot of concern up in Papua New Guinea.
And the last election was also marred by fraud and violence. There are concerns that Papua New Guinea could see a repeat of that as well.
Well, when you have people that felt that the system is not delivering to the expectation, that their names are not in the rolls, that have spent a lot of resources campaigning, and eventually finding that the basic state institutions haven't, tend to deliver on the expectations, then obviously there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of concerns, and that sometimes spill to violence. So we are just seeing the voting started this week. It will go for the next 3 weeks, and then either through the process of voting or the aftermath of the voting, we will see a lot of there is concern that there will be violence, and that's something that we are all hoping that it will not happen. But yes, it's an issue that has happened before.
Mm. There have been 6 weeks of campaigning. Have they gone relatively smoothly?
Yes, generally yes, but in some places, there were tensions, and there were some sort of conflict that happened between the candidates. But the system of voting in Papua New Guinea, unlike the first or the first past the post system before, where you only have one choice of the voting, with this system that they have now, people have 3 choices: first, second, and third preferences. So there's a lot of collegiality. There's a lot of teamwork between like-minded candidates, and that has also contributed to a bit of stability and peace.
Mm. Who do you see as being the front runners to form government eventually?
From what we have on paper, Peter O'Neill party, PNC, is the leading party with a lot of candidates. They have about 94 candidates, or they are sponsoring 94 seats, out of the 118 seats. And that is followed by James Marape's party, who is the current government, or who's the current prime minister of the government. His Pangu party has got 91 seats out of the 118 seats. So if all goes to plan, obviously PNC would, under Peter O'Neill, would have the majority. But again, there are issues with Peter O'Neill's leadership, and the party itself doesn't have a good record in terms of past sort of government. So people are also divisive on whether or not he will come back and form the government.
And there's already been controversy with Prime Minister James Marape denying he has any connection to a suitcase of cash discovered on a chartered flight. That was on the eve of the election.
It is certainly something that I'm sure the PM wish it didn't happen, and wish there was no connection there for that to happen. Or what we've seen. Obviously, he has come out to say that he has no connection to it. There's a lot of talks within social media space and within the media, and obviously parties that want to challenge his government are also driving a different narrative. So this is, I think, one of the things that perhaps he's seeing it as a negative thing to his campaign.
How successful do you think women will be this time around? In the last election, not one was elected to Parliament, and PNG remains one of the few countries in the world who don't have female representatives.
That's right, and that is a major concern. And so I think what we are seeing from this election is that the number of women standing, we've got about 142, which is less than the previous election, which was about 172, 70. But the difference that we are seeing with this election, the major parties are stepping up to support women, and some of the leading figures in the country, political figures, are also supporting women. And that's not something that has happened before or wasn't sort of widespread before. So I think the concern that has been raised the last 5 years about the absence of women in Parliament has really got to some of the major parties, and they're now throwing their weight behind women. There is hope there that we will see some success among those candidates. Obviously, women are as capable as the men, and hopefully that view is shared by the voters as well.
And just finally, what are some of the big issues that the candidates are campaigning on?
The key issue that has been bothering Papua New Guineans is the service delivery. People expect that the government services, health and education, and the road infrastructures, those concerns are mainly from those living in the much more rural, settings where there's a greater challenge there, and they have seen that political leaders haven't really sort of delivered on those services. So that is one of the key driving factors to determining whether or not the leader that they will choose will be someone that can deliver on that. The other one that also sort of connected to this first issue is the good governance. This concern about corruption is something that has been a stain on Papua New Guinea, and every sort of election, people are hopeful that the person that they voted in will stand up against corruption, not get into that. So those are the two sort of main driving things that have always been at the back of the mind. I think the other thing, just to finish off, is that the COVID downturn on the economy, and obviously that picks up on the legacy issues of PNG having some difficult economic situations happening. So I think that has factored into households, that the inability to basically afford services or afford food, the high sense of unemployment happening within the youths.
Yeah.
All these are things that is sort of at the back of the mind of the voters.
Right.
But that said, I must say that vote buying...
We've run out of time, Belkama, but thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing how this all plays out in the coming weeks. Belkama, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.